Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take my sister to Renfair because of what she wants to wear? I, 25F, am the oldest of 4 kids. Brother, Sam 20M, and sisters, Maddie, 17F, and Kiara, 12F. I have been going to Renfair since I was 16, usually with friends, but once Sam and Maddie were 13, I started taking them with me. Kiara just turned 12 a few months ago and said she wanted to go to Renfair this year. I was hesitant but asked our mom, and once she gave the okay, I actually got excited because, very sad about this, Sam is in the Marines and can't go this year because he is deployed. That is, I was excited until I found out what she wanted to wear. Maddie and I have been planning and making our outfits since last Renfair. We are both avid seamstresses, and offered to help Kiara design her outfit. Kiara is really into furries lately and has started making suits and masks, but I made it clear that Renfair isn't the place for that and I was uncomfortable taking her in that. She agreed. We came up with a few outfit designs, and set a day to go shopping for all the stuff. She then came to me a week ago, gloating, saying that our mom said yes to her wearing a furry suit to Renfair. I told her she absolutely could, but again, I wouldn't be the one taking her if she chose to wear that. She got upset and said I was being unfair because I was still taking Maddie. I told her again that Renfair isn't the place, and who I take with me is up to me. She's now very upset with me and is trying to get our mom to make me take her wearing her furry suit. So, am I the a-hole? Edit to add, there are several reasons as to why I stated not the place. Main being that it is still going to be in the 80s during Renfair and she wants to wear a full neon pink furry suit, head and all. Second, this isn't a big Renfair where you see all kinds of costumes. We live in a small town and aside from some tourists, it's mainly just people in our town. There's been plenty of creature costumes, but nothing like what she wants to wear. We offered to help her do a fantasy creature type costume, but she's doubling down. My mother isn't trying to make me take her, just said she was allowed. Also, I'm not embarrassed with her wearing this. I told her she can absolutely wear it next year when we go to Comic-Con. OP added comment. Maddie and I offered to help make her a more D&D creature outfit, werewolf, dragonborn, etc., but that isn't what she wants to wear. She wants to wear a neon pink, cartoonish, furry suit. If we were going to Comic-Con, I absolutely wouldn't care. But we live in a fairly small area and I have been going to our Renfair since I was 16 and have literally never seen someone wearing a furry suit. Top comments. Not the a-hole. While your sister is entitled to her interests and hobbies, Renaissance fairs typically have a specific theme and aesthetic that doesn't align with furry costumes. Your discomfort with taking her in a furry suit is understandable, as it might attract unwanted attention or conflict with the overall atmosphere of the event. Not the a-hole, but be prepared for your mom to put down her foot and say, then Maddie can't go either. If your mom was okay with her wearing a furry suit to Renfair, I wouldn't put it past her to pull a power play to get her way. OP replies. I asked my mom about this and she doesn't care about Maddie going. Maddie bought her own ticket and has a job and a license. She would go either way. Not the a-hole, I love my siblings and what they do is their own business, but I'm not going with any of them dressed up as furries anywhere. She wants to wear it to Ren. Cool, hope she finds a ride. Info, why is your mom okay with her 12-year-old daughter being into furry stuff? I'm aware it's not an exclusively sexual thing, but there's a lot of very sexual furry material. OP replies. They aren't, but originally she was into the and stuff and was wearing ears and tail to school. So in comparison, they think the furry thing isn't as bad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for shrugging when my dad's wife told me they need all of dad's money right now? I, 17M, might be the a-hole and I might be a big one, but I wanted to get people's insight. So my dad left my mom when I was 14 to be with his wife / the woman he was cheating on my mom with. My dad didn't want me to think badly of him, but I did. He knew I did and he knew he couldn't change my mind easily. We always knew my parents would end up with shared custody until I was 17 at least. From experience, the judges in family court will only stop enforcing shared custody when a kid turns 17 and speaks out, any younger and they insist on 50-50. I also knew mom would struggle on her own because while she did work, she never made as much as my dad. She also wouldn't get child support because of the 50-50 and it wasn't ordered even with the difference in income. So when dad pleaded with me to give him a chance to show he could still be a good dad and he said he would do anything for me, I told him to keep supporting mom and make sure she wasn't going to end up struggling while he got off easy. I told him she deserved that at least, after what he did, and that I deserved to see my mom doing well. My dad agreed and he paid it as child support instead of spousal support or whatever it's called. It really helped mom and she actually went back to school so she could get a better job. Dad is still paying that money. He knows I appreciate him doing it and he also knows it's one of the only reasons I didn't just decide to say F him and never want a relationship again. My mom is also less stressed. She has mixed feelings about my dad giving her money when legally he doesn't need to. But she also knows this is the only way for me not to feel the need to help support her. Where my dad's wife comes into it is this. She never liked that my dad paid this child support. She never liked that I insisted on it for my dad and I to have a relationship. But now my dad's house is struggling a bit and some changes needed to be made. His wife's son and daughter were in dance, football, softball, karate, music lessons and an art class as paid extracurriculars. My dad and his wife also have a baby together. The wife's kids had to cut 2 activities because they can't afford it anymore. It pissed his wife off because if dad wasn't paying the money they could still afford those things. She told me I should stop obligating my dad to support mom because they need it more and my mom isn't their problem. I told her she and her kids are not my problem. She told me they're my family while mom is not her or her kids' family or my dad's anymore. I told her she and her kids are dad's family but not mine. She told me they need all of dad's money right now before more things need to be cut back on. I shrugged in response. She told me I was so callously flippant and it wasn't a good look to care so little about my siblings' lives. Only one of her kids, the baby, is technically my half-sibling. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. The F did she expect, sleeping with a married man? She can get a second job if money is a problem. ETA, silly me, assuming she had a job other than homewrecker. Son of ETA, yes, they are both homewreckers, but he's at least stepping up to the plate. She's not. OP replies. She expected it to be like a lot of times where that happens when the man just doesn't give a F about the hurt he caused and does no damage control and takes care of her and her people instead. She didn't expect dad to be so bothered by me losing respect for him with his affair and leaving mom like he did. Absolutely not the a-hole. Dad didn't have to agree to pay your mom to buy your acceptance and stepmom should have spoke up then if it was a problem. She probably did but didn't push it so dad's conscience could be eased. Stepmom is just paying the price for cheating with a married man and dad is suffering for his part too. Karma is a B word. OP replies. I think it's more likely she spoke up, dad did it anyway and she was like F it, not going to end things now when we've come this far. Maybe she thought it wouldn't last as long. But I think there's a reason she wants the request to stop to come from me. Not the a-hole sorry for laughing at your stepmom. Out of curiosity, how long daddy will continue paying? Until you are 18 or until mom graduates? OP replies. For me it's until mom graduates. It's what I feel he owes. I can't technically make him pay that long though. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad, grandma and my dad's wife that my mom never put me in the middle? They did. My parents divorced when I, 16F, was 3 and my brother Shane, 18M, was 5. Shane remembers them fighting a lot back then. I remember none of it. What I do remember is my dad would always stay far away from mom and would sometimes skip things if mom was going to be present. He'd tell me or Shane, or both of us, that he didn't want to be mom's friend so thought it would be easier to stay away. When I was 6 dad met Kim and within 4 months Kim and her daughter Lila, now 13, moved in with him. Within the next 3 years dad and Kim had my 2 half-siblings, got married in between and Kim moved her mom in to care for her until she died. So it was chaos. Dad also lost his job and made less at his new one. Shane and I were back and forth between mom and dad. We'd spend a week with mom and then a week with dad. We hated going back then though because it was so chaotic. Mom was the stable parent for us. She was able to afford to give us a good quality of life that Dad struggled to provide. Mom paid for an extracurricular activity for me and Shane each. She made sure we always had enough supplies for school. She bought us nice gifts. We had game consoles at Mom's and other stuff that we didn't have at Dad's. Over time, as Lila got a little bigger and so did our half-siblings, Dad and Kim started asking Mom to send them money for us or to buy stuff for Lila and our half-siblings too. Mom refused. Dad and Kim hated that. They tried to say Mom was okay with us suffering, and Grandma especially said Mom should be making sure we didn't feel bad because we had more. Shane and I never felt bad. We knew we had different things because our mom was Mom and Kim was our half-siblings and Lila's mom. So different families and different households too. I never felt guilty that we did so well with Mom. I never felt like she owed my half-siblings or Lila gifts or food or clothes. Grandpa used to say him and Grandma should do more since they were actually family and our mom wasn't, and I agree with that. I know Shane does too. A lot of stuff happened since, but a few months ago Mom brought me and my two best friends to a concert. Dad knew I was going and he told Kim and Lila about it, knowing Lila had wanted to go as well but they couldn't afford it. This became a really big deal. Lila got so mad at me for it, and my dad and Kim got mad at Mom because I didn't apologize to Lila. They said Mom put me in the middle of divorce stuff. Then a couple of days ago they were talking about it with Grandma and all three said Mom made me feel bad by putting me, and Shane, in the middle and making us watch our other siblings suffer while we did so well. Grandpa called them crazy. I told them Mom never put me in the middle, they did, and she never made me feel bad for having more because I never felt bad. I knew that comes with having different families. They told me to stop defending Mom. Grandpa told them to stop acting like Shane, and I need to hate our mom because they do. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. And I love that your grandpa called them out. You're exactly right, you live in two different households and the expectations and offerings at each are going to be different. It's your mom's job to provide you a loving, stable home, just as your dad needs to provide that for you and your other siblings. The extras can be different. Not the a-hole. Tell your father a wife that you divorced and got a new wife and more children, while our mother only focuses on us, your wife and children not her responsibility, we are her responsibility only, she shouldn't work hard to provide for your family, they are not her family. If my mother who got married and we have step-siblings and half-siblings on her side, do you think it's your responsibility to pay for them? Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's husband I don't want him to adopt me and his bringing up my dead father is not winning me over? I, 16M, have two dads. One died before I was born, Daddy. He was my non-bio father and his best friend was my parents' surrogate. She's my Auntie Giga. My dad is my bio parent and my daddy's widower. And yeah, I say dad and daddy, and still say daddy as a 16-year-old guy. Dad always referred to daddy as daddy to me, so I use it. A month before I was born, Daddy died. My dad changed completely that day. Because of where we live, even back then, my daddy was still able to be recognized on my birth certificate. It was a fight and involved the courts. But it happened. It was really uncommon back then, but he won the case thanks to Auntie Giga and other family members recognizing my two dads. I grew up always knowing about Daddy and I always cherished the connection to him. I was always glad my dad won the right for both of them to be legally my parents. I was also always treated like their son, not just dads or not dads and Auntie Gigas. When I was 4, my dad tried to date again and he met Sam. They dated for about 3 months, but Dad wasn't ready and Sam didn't like what he saw. He felt jealous and insecure that he wasn't being brought in as another dad for me. They reconnected when I was 8 and got married when I was 12. My relationship with Sam is complicated and weird and he wants to adopt me. But I don't want him to be my dad. I don't want to be adopted by him or to have him take care of me if I become an orphan. He has always made it a point to bring up the fact Daddy wasn't my bio father in the first place and how legally it was a miracle he's even on my birth certificate. I hate it. It feels so gross. He has told me at least I'll know him, while daddy is someone who's just saintly in my mind because I wasn't allowed to process only having one parent. Even though I know I was raised by one parent. But I still had two. He just wasn't here. But I read the book he was putting together for me. He documented a lot of the parenting journey and surrogacy stuff and the pregnancy until his death. He was so excited. He loved me so much. He wanted me so badly. On Father's Day we had a big fight over adoption. Dad was out and Sam brought up the adoption to me. He told me he's tired of feeling like an outsider because I always treat him like dad's spouse instead of my stepdad or my parent. I told him because that's what he is and he has to learn to accept that. I told him nothing changed for me. He told me it's stupid because I love one stepdad so much more. I told him daddy is more than just a stepdad, and then I told him I don't want him to adopt me ever and bringing up daddy isn't winning me over. I told him if anything he's making me wish dad had found someone better. Dad doesn't know what happened, but things have been tense since, and Sam said I went too far. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. You need to talk to your dad and tell him everything. Does your dad know out what Sam is doing? Sam has no right to try and erase your daddy regardless if you met him or not. He still is and always will be your daddy. You're not the a-hole, Sam however is a-hole. Thank you for all the upvotes and the award. OP replies. Dad doesn't know. I always knew this would be the end of their marriage if he knew. I want my dad to be happy, so I kept quiet. But I guess that's not such a great idea anymore. Especially if it comes out in a more explosive way eventually. Not the a-hole. I can't even understand how Sam could think you went too far. You basically told him to stop pressuring you to feel a way you don't feel. I do think you need to talk to your dad about this though. Make it clear that you don't want the adoption that Sam keeps bringing up and that his pressure and trying to say your feelings for your daddy aren't important and real bothers you. If Sam wants a good relationship with you, then Sam needs to stop this, and your dad needs to be fully aware of the tactics Sam is using on you. Not the a-hole. Tell your dad and Aunt Giga. Is your aunt on your birth certificate? OP replies. Auntie Giga is not on my birth certificate. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.